What's the hardest part of your life that you've ever faced?
Whew.
Yeah.
Hardest part, I mean, like
what's the most difficult part of life you've ever gone through?
Losing my dad, definitely.
Yeah.
No doubt. It was right when, I mean, it was in such a big time in my life. You know, I just got my record deal, chilling. It was, you know, blowing up, doing well. And, but you got to look at that and, hey, at least he got to see that, you know, kind of happen and knew I was going to be all right. But yeah, there's been a lot of tough times, you know, but that's definitely the one in the past, you know, 5 years. I mean, the biggest thing I've probably ever gone through.
Well, when you hear the song, You Should Be Here, everybody knows there's a very special meaning behind that. And as I was listening to the album, I got to, you know, I was really deep into it, and all of a sudden the song comes on, and it's a story about calling a phone number, and like some lady answers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what is this? And then, dude, it's a song about Cole's dad's old number. And is that a true?
It's I mean, I've definitely done that before, but I just think anybody that, you know, has lost anybody, doesn't have to be your dad or whoever, just lost anybody and has that number, you know, where the person used to call, good, bad, whatever. And just, you know, when you lose them, you kind of forget about it you're like, wow, I need to call them. And you realize you can't. And I think that's the specific, I don't know, idea of this song. I've had songs about losing people, but this is just that, you know, that idea of, man, that feeling, that emotion of not being able to call them anymore. And that's what I'm glad you brought that up about the song. Starts off a guy calling a lady and just kind of saying, apologizing, hey, it's been me all these times, waking you up in the middle of the night, calling you early in the morning, every time the Braves score or whatever, you know, and he's really just saying, I'm sorry, you've got my dad's old number, you know, and that's, you don't get ideas. I have chills just saying that. I've heard the song 100 times, I think, but I appreciate you bringing that one up. That's definitely one of the most special ones on the album for me. Me and my bus driver, the first time he heard it, we're riding down the road and he's close to his dad, you know, and it scared him to death, like hearing that, like, one day I'm going to be like, I'm not going to be able to call. And even if it makes you call somebody you love, tell them that right now, whoever. That's you know, I'm doing my job as an artist and songwriter. That's one of the best written songs I've ever heard. Chase McGill, Jesse Alexander.
I will say, as I've gotten older, I have like messages kept on my phone on purpose, especially from my dad, because when you get older, you start thinking about these things. And I've started thinking about it. My dad's 70, going to be 1. Yeah. And I'm just like, you know what? I've got a list of messages from my dad and my mom that I won't ever erase.
And somebody just asked me that the other day. They were like, do you have any voicemails saved? And I was scared to even answer because, you know, I honestly don't know. I got to look back. I hope I do, but
it's almost like you don't want to know. You want to have that hope.
I don't. Yeah, it's like, but I totally get that. I remember when we did the "You Should Be Here" video. We had a clip at the beginning of when I called my dad and told him I had a record deal, and I remember my videographer that day was like, "Why?" He was like, "Hey, I want to film it." I'm like, "Wow, I'm just calling my dad." He's like, "You never know. You may want this one day." And I'll never forget him saying that because I thought it was so. I'm like, I'm just calling him to tell him that, and I have that on video. And that was the first time I heard his voice, you know, since I lost him. And it was just, man, it was tough. But that's, hey, I'm a real person, just like anybody else. That's why I relate to, you know, country music fans, especially because I've, you know, any song I'm singing about, I've been through it, and you know, I know there's other people that need to hear it just as much or more than I do.